if I was from Mars and I needed you to explain democracy to me, how would you describe it?
I would say that it would be the right for all of us to collectively to let our opinions be known.
I would say it's the people's voice.
Is the right to get up in the morning, go to work, and live my life in a way where the government doesn't interfere.
I would say it's freedom to express yourself. I think democracy is where the people have input into what's going on in your country, your city, your state, your whatever.
Freedom of speech is democracy, I think. I believe democracy means freedom of speech.
Just freedom of choice, being able to go out in a corner and state your opinion without getting arrested.
A democracy was set up so that we couldn't have another monarchy, like with the kings of England and France and so forth.
Democracy is government of the people, by the people, for the people.
Democracy is, it's a word that everybody uses today. And certainly you can use it for real democracy and you can use it for kind of a masquerade of totalitarianism where you just call it democracy, but it isn't. I would say also if you look back to history, we had feudalistic systems, we had aristocrat systems. Now we have democracy, but if democracy just means that you have a small political class and the others can't decide, then it's not real democracy. So I would be very happy if we would have a discourse. What does real democracy mean?
We don't really have democracy in the world. We have representative government, where the people on election day give their power away to somebody else who then makes laws, and then the people have a simple choice: obey the law or go to jail. Right now, representative government is designed to maintain the people in civic adolescence, because we give our power away and we blame George, we blame Charlie, we blame everybody but ourselves. Oh, we want a road, we want this, we want that, but we don't want to be taxed. Well, that's the definition of adolescence. That's our kids. Now, how do we raise our kids into adulthood? Well, we give them more and more responsibility until we hope they leave the house and don't come back. Now, what happens to citizens when they begin to make laws? They will then have to take responsibility for the laws they enact and make the mistakes, as we all make, and then make the corrections. That's how they mature.
Right now, in every election, less and less people go to vote. In the political parties, they lose members. Many young people do not like to become a member of a political party. And people watch politics as being far away. We have a political class up there, that's the perception of the people, and we, the ordinary people, they don't care about us. That's the feeling they have. Within a political party, you have to begin at the bottom, you have to work for 10 years or so, and then after, let's say, 20, 30 years, you will have a position where you can decide something, and that's something young people don't want to wait for. Many young people are interested in politics, but they want to have results. They want to engage and then in 1 year or in 2 years see a result.
What we did, we made a committee and we registered for starting a popular initiative. Everybody said we are totally crazy, so we said, okay, we are crazy, but let's start it. We had this proposal: Switzerland has no army, that would be a constitutional amendment. We started to gather signatures, it was a hard fight, but in the end we managed to get these 100,000 signatures you need. And that was the starting point for an official dealing with this issue. And still in the beginning everybody said, you will get 2%. And it was different because we had built up an understanding and a discussion with so many people during this signature gathering that we had all over Switzerland people who said, this is a good thing, we have to put this question, we have to have a referendum on that. So we continued with that, the parliament said no, the government said no, and in the end, we didn't win, we didn't expect that, but we got 35.6%, more than a third. It's not just about getting a majority for a proposal, it's about this dialogue, this communication, about putting issues into question. And the result was, of course, after that, the whole discussion, official discussion in parliament, in government, had totally changed. For instance, we got within 2 years, we got the civil service possibility instead of the full conscription, which forced people into prison if they were ready to go to the army. We got a change of the whole army legal system. We got diminution of the army. Today it's just 1/6 of the old army size. It has been a huge success, and we said already at that time when we had this vote, we are the luckiest losers in the world.
Until now, in a parliamentarian system, it's mainly the corporations who have the capacity to lobby the member of parliaments and the government. So in a system where you have a direct democracy, the civil society has more possibilities to influence the policy makers, and that I think is really an advantage. And I don't see that the business is hindered by direct democracy. And just to take the Swiss case, Switzerland is one of the countries where the instruments of direct democracy are the most developed. And according to all economic reviews, we are among the most competitive economies of the world. If direct democracy would be really bad for the economy, then we wouldn't have those figures.
A healthy democracy takes effort, and that requires good, reliable, and impartial information.
And that's what the media is supposed to be here for serving a democratic society, sort of like a large national kitchen table that we all sit around and debate and discuss the most important issues of the day. War and peace, life and death. We are living in very dire times right now. Time with the leading up to the invasion of Iraq, where we have a media that has iced out almost all dissent.
There are many questions that can't be dealt with today only in one country, that are cross-border problems like the climate. And so we have more and more supranational bodies that take decisions, like, let's say, GATS, the WTO, and all these bodies are not working in a democratic sense. So there's a very big need to democratize not only the nations, but also the supranational level. You know, if you look at most of the evil in history, let's say at the terrible wars in last century and all that, they have never been decided by, let's say, a popular vote. They have been decided by either a small group of political leaders or only one political leader. The more power you give to one single person, the worse politics become, the worse also human rights will be treated and all that. The more power you share and give to everybody, the more you will have care for human rights, care for all the other questions. So that's why I think that more direct democracy and living in a better world is two sides of the same medal.
To perform the duty of a citizen is work. We either decide to do the work or we don't. And if we don't, out of our own laziness or inattention, we will find ourselves with incompetent generals, autocrats, Mussolini. Democratic self-government is self-government. And it's your responsibility to learn.